Check into LinkedIn, a beginner's guide to hotel social selling. There's so much misunderstanding still about the concept of social selling and why it's so critical for today's seller. I recently spoke to certified gap seller Celeste Berke Knisely about what the difference is between traditional hotel sales and social selling, what it means to have an optimized LinkedIn profile, what are things that people can do to measure the success, and what's a tip that people can get started on their journey today. Let's go. Well, hi, Celeste. Friday.
Yes.
Nice
Midday Friday.
Oh yeah, right? It's a little bit still early for me here, so let's get after it. I can't wait to talk to you. Welcome to the In Sync Show. We are going to dive in deep on the beginner's guide to hotel social selling. You ready?
I am. Let's do it.
We've got Celeste Berke Knisely with us, and we are going to kind of deconstruct. There's still so much misunderstanding about what social selling is. So I'm going to get right after it. And Celeste, can you explain to us, to a hotel salesperson, really the stark difference between traditional hotel sales and what we're passionately referring to as social selling?
So you asked 10 people, you're going to get 10 different responses. I would say the stark difference, because I come up through a hospitality background, it's event meeting management, and then I went into hospitality before going out on my own. The difference that I find is, we'll call it being a lighthouse. The lighthouse is putting out that beacon of light, and it's casting a wide net across an ocean or a sea so that people see it and start coming in. Traditionally, hospitality has relied on and still does inbound. So someone finds me because of the brand, they're referred loosely, we've worked with them in the past, they're calling around. Inbound. Social selling is really about having a presence somewhere in the digital landscape and talking about problems you solve, value you bring, your expertise, being that almost like a mayor, you know everything, you can help without attaching to any outcome, being a magnet for people to come into you. So social selling by nature is using social media to find leads, referrals, gain insights into what's going on so that you can start to build a pipeline for present or future.
Love that. You did mention inbound, but I still talk to a lot of our salespeople that are still doing outbound, but outbound, traditional way. How is that different? You pick up the phone and it's because that event happened last year, or?
Yes. So when you're looking at hospitality specifically, outbound is usually, we're doing a power hour. We have a power hour 3 to 5 times a week. Look in the CRM. Who once previously inquired about a piece of business or has been here previously, let me put them on a list. I'm now going to call them. In most other industries, outbound requires doing research, figuring out who your target market is, your target audience, your ICP, if you will. Where are they hanging out? What indicators are out there, starting blind, cold conversations with individuals in order to start nurturing a conversation to bring them in. It is not selling to them, it is going outbound. And our hospitality sales leaders hate it. They hate it because they don't understand it. And therefore, it becomes a lot of sales activity that has no direct correlation to actually building pipeline.
Well, Celeste, you and I and every other hotel salesperson would agree relationships are everything, right? So if we all agree relationships are everything, how is it that there's still a big disconnect on starting with small talk, beginning to understand and really building rapport with somebody before you pitch slap them on your wares? So where's the disconnect there?
So I'm going to debunk, as a certified gap selling training partner, there's a study done by 30,000 sellers. We debunk the myth that relationships matter. Think about it in your own life. We've all purchased something from someone that maybe we didn't know, we didn't actually like, but because they identified we had a problem, and they could quantify that, they could show us that our current state was intolerable, untenable, we then purchased from them. So I think it's been browbeaten over the years that like relationships matter. And yes, they do to an extent. I'm not saying people don't buy if you have a relationship with them, but a lot of people you have a relationship with are never going to buy from you. That meeting planner is never going to buy from you because you aren't having a business conversation. You're leading in on this rapport building, and relationships matter. So we have to move the needle on understanding the problems that we solve for a meeting planner, for example, and how we can help them, how we help them better than our competition, how we help solve a problem for them versus just leaning on that relationship piece. But I think traditional sales training has taught you start with the, I hope you're doing well. And then you go right into, these are the products and the features. This is how they benefit you without even knowing if our buyer is in a place, has a need for, has a problem we can solve. We're just like, because we think that's selling. And no, that's telling.
Absolutely. Eye-opening differences that I learned from gap selling is buyers don't necessarily need to like you, but they have to trust you. But to me, I still think trust still involves a relationship of some sort. Not so that when I say a relationship, I meant that you're a trusted advisor and they look at you that way of some sort. At least they're familiar with you on that. So,
sure. And if you're not providing value to someone, and typically this comes from detaching from the sale. So let's say you get an inbound, you have a conversation with someone, like, how do I show up to genuinely help them, regardless of if they buy from me or not? What value am I bringing? How am I taking their current state or the information that they're giving me and turning it around in another light? So for example, I had a call where I did a recommendation today. If the company does not change, they still have to 5x their pipeline in order to be at their current state and get to their desired outcome. The individual was like, okay, I wasn't thinking about it that way. It's when you bring new information to light that helps a meeting planner, someone who's looking to book or bring group rooms. Like if we look at it in an alternative light, did I bring new information to them that they haven't thought about before? That helps to build that trust versus just asking someone rates, dates, and space. There is no trust built there. They don't know you're an expert. They don't know you can help them. But time and time again, that's what we're teaching our young sellers to do.
And getting back to the whole short-sightedness we talked about, in a lot of our training, we talk about traditional hotel sales ignores 97% funnel. They only concentrate on the 3%
ready to buy
in Delphi that's ready to buy, i.e. also, if that particular person you're talking to at a networking event may not be your direct buyer, but they might say, hey, look, I was talking to Celeste. She brought some amazing value in our conversation. You might want to talk to her because you have an event. And again, it's not because you're not the direct buyer. They still look right past you and start talking to somebody else, not realizing that perhaps you could be a word of mouth referral or another piece of possible opportunity. That's not directly related to you.
That funnel, for some reason, we're all here because we have the commission breath, which isn't even that much in hospitality. Come on. Right. That's the rant I'll get to later.
Yeah, right.
When's the last time you saw an article, something happened, you reached out to someone there was zero ask. It was a gift.
Exactly.
I saw this article. I remembered you from a couple of years ago. Hey, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I remember when I met you at an event, you said you're a survivor, blah, blah, blah. It's like giving and it's remembering people because at some point we're usually faced with a buying situation. But it may not be now. It may be 3 years from now. It may be 2 months from now. But we never are nurturing those people. We're always going for the ask. I'm going to get on the call and do some prospecting to see if anybody has any business. Why aren't we just talking to people?
Totally. God, this is crazy. I've got 3 more questions. I'm going to move on here because this is insane. The first step that I always teach our salespeople is let's get your profile optimized on LinkedIn because that's your personal landing page. it's staggering to go in LinkedIn and see, look at who's looked at your profile, right? So if you put that, I know. So if you see that a CEO from a particular corporation or even a broker or buyer is looking at your profile, are you putting your best foot forward? Or are you wasting those impressions on somebody because you're just talking about yourself? Nobody cares about you. How important is an optimized profile, Celeste?
I have a slide that I show when I train with teams on, we go from basically crawling to walking. We can't get to walking on LinkedIn until we start to crawl, and the crawl becomes our profile. LinkedIn has an amazing relationship with Google, where Google has a 99 Moz rating, which means if someone and people are going to Google you, put your name in a Google search, your LinkedIn profile is going to be
1, 2, or 3
in that top.
Yep.
And people are lazy, so they're going to click on your LinkedIn profile. If it is blank, what does that say about you? So I show this graphic of this like rundown restaurant that has no curb appeal and ask participants, would you eat here? And then we go around the room and everybody makes up a story about what could possibly happen. Versus if I would have showed them a billboard that completely gave them, a call to value, a call to action, was a beautiful photo, told a story. They're like, oh, I never looked at my LinkedIn that way.
Right.
And I am shocked that the brands haven't actually mandated this, because individuals are showing up in a higher search than brands and management companies that are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a website. You have to think about it as your personal website. It is free. You don't have to spend a dime on it. But if you are not positioning yourself as the expert, I know most people in hospitality are, because they have a gazillion years of experience and all these awards, you are missing out. Someone does not want to go into a rundown restaurant and give it a 5-star review. So that is where we have to start. Profile optimization. I understand you want to go out and prospect and find people, but if we are going to send them back to our landing page, what information do we want them to know? And visually, how does that help us? There's also a lot of statistics about someone spends 13% of the time looking at your profile photo. Last week, I had to tell all these people, stop taking the selfie in the car with the seatbelt across you with the shades on. Come on. We're in the age of smartphones. Take a photo that is representative of you. Plus, brand yourself visually. Get that headline dialed in.
You wouldn't believe the reactions I say in some of my sessions. Consider not using sales manager in your title. Your profile should be about your prospect, not about you. Yes, they're going to scroll beyond the fold. They're going to see that you went to Georgia Tech, or you were an association, or you've been here and here. Above the fold, which is your banner, your profile, and your about section, are your beachfront real estate of your profile. Yes. Make it about your prospect, because what's in it for them?
Yep. How do you help them? I am a big fan of having your title if it has some keywords in it, but I would caution individuals when you start using cutesy phrases, industry jargon, nobody knows what that means, right? Nobody knows all of our insider industry information, RevPAR, any of that stuff. No. So 220 characters on your LinkedIn headline. There's frameworks you can use. Chat GPT, come on. There's so many things out there that can help you. I teach individuals how to do this. If you want to drive reviews, if you want to have a selling extension of yourself while you sleep, I can tell you, I'm not a huge influencer on LinkedIn. I think I'm driving 1,600 profile views in 90 days, maybe 1,700. Now, the class that I had, right, they're at 20, 25. In 90 days, you have an extension of yourself to help you make more money while you sleep. Have your profile work for you.
Your hardest working sales assistant. Absolutely. So because of our conversation, I spoke to you about my biggest connection as of recently, and that's a shout out to Nick Horgan.
Yes, Nick.
Nick him and I knew of each other, and he was at HSMAI San Diego as well, but we never really had a great conversation or connected. It's only after I posted on LinkedIn about riding dirt bikes and motocross that he did a comment about him and his brother. But now I'm asking others to include personal tidbits even in your title section or profile. So if you look at mine, you'll see that I added some tidbits about HSMAI, the fact that I've got twin daughters and I'm a proud cheer dad.
Yeah.
I ride motocross.
Giving all that money to cheer.
That's right. And I'm a new wave 80s fanatic. And I can't tell you how many people have reached out personally because I've added those little tidbits to my profile.
Yeah, I'm considering changing mine. I think I have mom and I put podcast hosts in there, but I'm getting hit up left and right about podcast services and all that. So that might go by the wayside. I'm trying to think of something interesting. Do you put like socially awkward? Because I'm a little bit awkward.
Anything funny? And that was my post that unfortunately didn't get quite the response I was hoping for.
LinkedIn reached
I know, but I thought it was funny. And it's using untapped superpower in sales, and it's humor.
Oh, yeah. I'm all about the humor. It sometimes falls on deaf ears. Like I have this Panic at the Disco little skit that I
saw that. I love that.
Everybody wants me to take it to TikTok. And I'm like, it's really hard to come up with things that like I can answer in 1 minute, but I'll do that one shortly. But that's the highest rated series.
I'm always looking for that post. It's been a while since you've done one. So
I know. I need to record out this weekend. I'll do a Panic at the Disco and I have to use like the hat. I think I have to move to
make sure you use the ears. Your kid's headset, right? Yeah. That's so awesome. I love it.
Right here. She keeps telling me like, Mama, those are mine. Like, you can't have them.
I love that. See, what you right there connects with people you've never met. They're gonna go, oh, that's cute, that's fun. Oh, she's so approachable and relatable. People, that's human psychology. That's the superpower of sales. And for crying out loud in hospitality, we should be crushing that. And we're still so stiff and sterile. Let's lighten things up. So I'm gonna keep this thing rolling because I know you're on a hard stop and I can sit here for an hour because I'm writing all these other things.
I know.
People have short-sighted thinking. They get frustrated and they don't see progress. 30 days, which to me is just nothing. It's a blink of an eye. But
I'm going to say 90.
90 days. But let's say if you were to implement a few things, how would you measure some success in 30, 60, or even 90 days, so to speak, so you don't lose enthusiasm?
Yep. I had the team pull up their social selling index. I think it is a great indicator of, as a competitive person in hospitality, where do I rank against my peers, against my network? How am I doing? Social selling index will give you a score. You can benchmark that every single week to see progress. You can also pull your key metrics. How many profile views you're driving, how many connections you have, what's your engagement like? These are all indicators of our performance. We want to see them start to improve. But just like everybody else, nobody signs up to run a marathon tomorrow and thinks, I'm going to finish it. You're going to lose 10 out of 10 times. I mean, there's probably somebody out there that can do it. No, you start the training, you start to learn how to do it, the nuances, just like you and I. We started one day on LinkedIn where it's like, oh, I guess this is no longer a resume. It's a place where I'm going to start sharing. Oh, nobody commented on my post? Keep going. Nobody liked it? Keep going. The best way to drive people back to your profile, again, a profile that has been optimized and looks appealing and doesn't talk just about you, but how you help people, is to comment, is to get in the comments. And for the love, stop commenting on other hospitality sellers. You have to get in and start commenting on people who could be referrals. Someone at a top account of yours, someone at a target account, someone who's a meeting planner, someone who is just graduating college that you can start to build a pipeline for future talent. Like, you have to branch out. It is similar to when we go to networking events and we're like, oh, we talk to all of our hotel people. And you're like, great.
GM, right? It's so funny.
No, same thing on LinkedIn. Like, that's great to support everybody that you know in hospitality. But if you want to start using it as a sales tool, as a branding tool, you have to get uncomfortable with crickets. But I tell you, it will come. In July, this past July, I started doubling down on video content.
Yes.
I am getting inbound requests because people have seen me. They've been following me. People come out of the woodworks. We're looking for a trainer. We're looking for this. We've seen you. If I never would have taken that step to get really uncomfortable, I wouldn't be driving inbound.
Very good point. great comment about what you mentioned to get started on commenting. People, when they first think that they jump on LinkedIn, they got to come up with these ideas and they've got analysis paralysis because they don't know where to start. LinkedIn's going to take away the hashtags. But if you go to hashtag meeting profs, event profs, meeting, there's conversations. Find out where you can add some value. Jump into the conversation, leave a little bit of sizzle in there, begin a rapport, keep the conversation by asking questions once you're done, right? Keep that thing going. Suddenly you've kind of got back and forth. DM them offline. That was a great conversation. Would love to talk with you more over coffee. Just like you would in person, right?
Absolutely. So I can tell you, without dropping too many hints, a post was brought to my attention a couple months ago. I dropped some comments in there. I had someone on the team drop a comment in there. I then was like, this person isn't responding. What next? How do I reach them next? They didn't accept my connection request. I took it offline. I sent an email into the abyss. Like, couldn't find a phone number for this person. They're like unreachable. They responded. They set a meeting. I had to pull Keenan in on it because this is like big time enterprise. And I was like, I'm in over my head. I got to pull on the big guns, Keenan, for gap selling. But this works across any industry. If I never left a comment, if I never commented on that post, that person would have never had seen me. I asked them why they accepted the meeting. They said because of the email I sent, they were intrigued. We now have a potential opportunity. And when I tell you it is a game-changing opportunity, I won't put it down, but like, I don't know where it's going to go, but it started that because I got out of my own mindset of I'm going to go find people on LinkedIn and get in their comment section. So then when I do send them that connection request, they're like, oh, I've seen that name. That person has been commenting.
My post Monday is going to be break your like button. Don't like any post. Just comment, because that's the only way somebody's going to know who you are. Liking is a waste of time. So I love that. I know you're short on time, so I'm going to keep rolling here. Biggest pitfalls to avoid when starting.
The mindset of, I have nothing of value to offer. I don't have enough experience. Those are pitfalls. It's usually the self-talk, the negative self-talk. Who cares? We're all at that place of someone is further along the journey than us. Someone is more successful. They've made more money. They're higher in their career. Yeah, but all those people that aren't there yet, you were able to shed light and value and show behind the scenes look. How did I get here? What are things to avoid? You can provide education and value. You don't have to have achieved this arbitrary place in your career in order to do it. So the pitfall is the negative self-talk. You do it over and over and over again. You start to learn about what resonates and what doesn't. And sometimes we think, oh, this is going to be awesome. And then you're like, not.
Totally. Mine today. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
I haven't been on LinkedIn today, so I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. No, big disappointment, but hey, that's fine. Yeah, exactly.
You did it.
See, and that's one other person said, hey, don't forget about what anybody else thinks. Just use it as an outlet for you to have fun. Expect nothing.
Someone I follow posts for sales therapy, like it's their therapy. And I love it. Their posts are amazing. And I'm like, this is awesome. And now I've referred that person a whole bunch of times to open positions because I'm like, they're an amazing, they're awesome. They're selling me nothing.
For someone still on the fence on social selling or LinkedIn in general, where is the first place to start right now? And we probably touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, start building out your profile. Look at other people, see what catches your eye, start putting that into your profile.
Awesome.